Okay. Good evening, Dr. Grace, Dietitian Grace. Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
All right. I'm fine, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Okay.
Okay, welcome viewers. Thank you so much for joining us. We're still getting people coming on, and we're grateful for giving us your time this evening. Okay, my name is Jane Ballat. I'm the MD CEO of Janiba Ginger Limited, and I'm hosting the show, Janiba Ginger Show, and co-hosting with me is dietitian Grace Abasri Mochonogo. Yes, so this is our second edition of the Janiba Ginger Show, and we hope that this one will be as interactive, as interesting as the previous one was. All right. Okay. So without wasting any time, let me just introduce our co-host, because she's going to be like sort of the main anchor on the show. As you know, Janiba Ginger is all about health. We're all about a healthy lifestyle, healthy living. Health is wealth. That has been our mantra. If you see our adverts, you see anything that shows anything about Janiba Ginger, is always all about health. So we just felt it right that we are not just talking, but we are also showing or demonstrating what we are putting out there. Authenticity is very important for any business. So that's what formed the basis for this program. And also out of our passion for healthy living, we felt it's good to come out here and discuss issues that affect people's health, and how through our products, people's health needs can be met. Okay, so Barrister Dietitian Grace Abasri Mochonogo is a registered dietitian. She's worked with a lot of prestigious institutions, including Garki General Hospital, where she's still working right now. She's been in practice for over 7 years. She specializes in medical nutrition therapy for individuals managing chronic diseases like hypertension, kidney disease, PCOS, and diabetes. So if you have any of these concerns and you would like to get more information on what you need to eat, what you need not to eat, Dietitian Grace is your person. She has been, she believes in nutrition that should be practical and enjoyable, which is what we sell in Janiba Ginger. Healthy living shouldn't be boring. It should be fun. It should be something that we like. It should be a lifestyle, not something that you do because, okay, I ate a lot of food over the holidays and now I want to detox to cleanse my system. Let healthy living be a lifestyle, and it can actually be fun. It doesn't have to be difficult. So that's one thing that Dietitian Grace champions a lot in her practice, and that's why we are also a team. Most of our recipes were developed, in collusion or in collaboration with Dietitian Grace. So we try to make sure that we're not just going out there and experimenting with our customers, but before we put anything out there, it went through her assessment and her confirmation so that we're selling what we could prove was good. So she also believes in enjoyable, realistic meal plans. So if you look at our menu, you notice that we have smoothies, banana smoothie. This all came from Dietitian Grace. We have the agbalumo smoothie. All that came from her, because the idea was, let's make healthy living fun and interesting. And a lot of our customers have testified to these things being good for them. So without wasting much time, I want us to just know that we're in very good hands with Dietitian Grace. My own experience with her the first time was to also guide me with regards to my nutrition. So please feel free to ask any questions that you want on the program. All right, so without wasting more time, today we're going to be discussing the benefits of cold pressed juice as opposed to pasteurized juices, and vice versa. We always try to see how we can look at things from two different sides and not just having one standpoint. Okay, so cold pressed juices are really what Janiba Ginger Limited sells. We don't sell pasteurized juices. Cold pressed juices are juices that are freshly made, and the way in which they are produced is to preserve all the goodness in the fruits and the vegetables used to produce that recipe. So blend them. We don't have to go ahead and go through any sieving process to get rid of
We
any.
can't hear you.
Okay, sorry, can you
Yeah.
hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So I said our juices are produced through cold press, meaning that it doesn't go through any process of blending. It goes through a juicing machine, a cold press juicer that does its best to preserve the nutrients and the vitamins in the fruit. So even in the process of juicing, you're not losing even the best parts of the fruits and vegetables used in the recipe. That's the science behind cold press juicing. In the juicing business, you have to realize that we have all kinds of juicers. We have centrifugal juicers, we have the regular juicers, we also have the option to blend. But with the cold press juicer, it is designed to ensure that whatever you're producing retains the vitamins and the nutrients. Pasteurized juices, on the other hand, are juices that have gone through a heating process to deal with all the germs and all the bacteria that could cause harm. And also that will also help the juice to have a higher shelf life. Okay, so today we want to look at it from the perspective of a dietitian. Which one should be more beneficial? Obviously, most of the juices we find on the shelves in shops that we go to buy, they are mostly those that may have undergone some form of pasteurization, else they will not be on the shelf. So before I go any further, or to prevent me from talking more, let me let our experts to come in at this time. So Dietitian Grace, you're welcome. Please, can you go ahead and educate us more on the benefits of either juices?
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's
Mm.
good to be here. Like she said, my name is Grace. I'm a registered dietitian, and our goal here is to make sure we give you science, evidence-based information, right, regarding your health. I'm talking about pasteurized juices or cold pressed. The question says which one is healthy, right? We won't go straight to say, oh, this is healthy, this is not healthy, right? So, like she said, pasteurization already means the juice processing has gone through heating. And the essence of the heating is so that the bacteria can be dealt with. Like, so now when you hear that, it tells you, oh, there's something positive about pasteurization going on. Yeah. Yes, of course. Now, that's for the reason that is done is because the juice possibly needs to be extended, the shelf life. Now, if the shelf life is to be extended, then something has to happen because of bacterial growth, and that's what pasteurization take care of to avoid any bacteria which could cause foodborne diseases, right? So that's the process of the pasteurization. And pasteurized juices can stay as long as 1 month, weeks to months. Some it's just like our regular juices, like she said. Okay. Now the cold press, on the other hand, is using a cold pressed machine, which enables us to ensure that we maintain the nutrients, the polyphenols, the antioxidants, right, the nutrients in our juices. Now, from this explanation, I won't call it a definition. From the explanation, you already see that the pasteurized juices, as much as it's trying to do away with the bacteria that could lead to foodborne diseases, on the process of heating, some of the nutrients are being tampered with.
Yes.
So it's being reduced. There is a
Yes.
study in food chemistry, sometime
Yeah.
2017 or 20, oh, no, I think 2017, a
Yes.
research shows that
Yeah.
vitamin C was drastically reduced in pasteurized orange juice by
Okay.
25%.
Okay.
25% may not look so much, but it is a lot, really. Okay.
Yes, it
So
is.
now for cold process, you retain that vitamin C.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're taking a juice, I think you want to get all the nutrients, right? The
Yes.
antioxidants, the nutrient like the vitamin C and other vitamins, all enzymes. So
Yeah.
now the cold process helps you to maintain those nutrients. For pasteurization, the pasteurized juices, as much as they kill the bacteria, but then the nutrient, which is the essence of your juicing, is drastically reduced. Okay. Now,
Reduced. Yeah.
talking about them in the
Side
difference
by
and all,
side.
yeah, the pasteurized ones would make sure that the bacteria are off. Then the cold processed juices, easily there's a possibility of foodborne disease if not well preserved.
Yes.
The pasteurized juice you can leave as long as, but now with the cold pressed juice, you're expected to consume within a stipulated period of time. So leaving it over that period of time, you're calling in for a danger. As much
Yeah.
as you're being health conscious, you want something natural and all, right? But leaving it more than its shelf life, it's breeding is a ground for bacterial growth. Okay. So the both pasteurization and cold process have their advantages, have their
Yeah.
disadvantages.
Disadvantages. Yes.
Okay. But coming from the health aspect, the code process, like what we basically try to do actually in our code processing, we don't have sugar.
Yes.
I'm mentioning that. Like
Yeah.
when I mean sugar, I mean added sugar, please, because
Yeah.
every juice we make actually has its own natural sugar from the fruits
Yes.
and vegetables that we use for our
Yeah.
juices. So from the code process, we do not put any added sugar, but that process of pasteurization, when some nutrients are being reduced, it is wise to add something to enhance the flavor.
Of course. Yes.
Yeah. So, but for pasteurization, for cold press, you don't need to add anything to enhance
Yeah.
flavor because the cold process method actually gives you everything like the way it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
right? So
Yes.
now, in that regards, for sugar content, the cold process has more of the natural sugar per se
Sugar.
compared to the pasteurized. Okay.
Yes.
Now, for someone who is health conscious, you want to reduce your intake of added sugars because it's
Yeah.
been linked to excessive added sugar has been linked to a lot of metabolic conditions. So now the cold pressed juice is actually a better alternative. Does that mean the pasteurized juice is not safe? No, no. Okay, they are safe, pasteurized or cold pressed, but there are levels to it. So the cold press it has a higher
Yeah.
level what is the health
Yes.
aspect of it, okay,
Yeah.
and so that's that. And for cold pressed, just don't allow it to overstay. That's the advice. That's the goal. You don't allow it to overstay. You consume it. And generally, one thing common amongst the both is that they are all juices, and there is expected level to the juice you should take. Okay, and then the content of your juice for someone who is looking at for their blood sugar level, you wouldn't want to go for a juice that is made with high glycemic load fruit or glycemic indexes. Okay, so you go for the ones that are lower glycemic load or glycemic index per se.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where we have something like our celery juice, okay, the cucumber aspect. Okay, that's for people looking out for low glycemic indexes and low glycemic load per se. But then in the pasteurized juice, you may not have such option.
Yeah.
You don't really have such option. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's my issue now because even if pasteurized juices are still healthy, because I believe that if you are, because I think even under pasteurization, you have the one that is called flash pasteurization, which is a shorter period that you subject the juice to heat. And immediately
Yeah.
after, you quickly introduce, you know, a cooling system to it, to cool it. Then the more elongated pasteurization is maybe you introduce it for like 30 minutes, which naturally will destroy more of the nutrients. Now, for somebody who will come to the hospital and has PCOS and is seeking guidance on, okay, right now, this person needs some form of nutrition in their system. They have PCOS And it's not, there's no time for you to say, okay, let's go and get fresh fruit juice. We have to do pasteurized, use pasteurized juice because that's the easiest, because any shop you go to, it may be there. How are you able to know that the quantity of, let's say, like you said, you said glycemic index? How can you tell that this juice has enough to get this person to where you need them to be stabilized? So that's another
Yeah.
issue where I just want to throw that in an emergency case,
Okay.
and you are forced to have to take. How do you handle that situation?
You're asking this in regards to PCOS and pasteurized juices, right?
Yes, yes.
When it comes to PCOS and pasteurized juice, I don't think there is actually a place for the both in the
Okay.
same, right? What I mean by that is someone comes with PCOS, they want
Mm,
juices. I'm not going to recommend pasteurized juices.
okay.
Okay. I won't say there are no safe levels to it, but
Mm.
it's already it's mixed up, right? Because
It's
this
been
person
touched.
talking about
Yes.
PCOS, it's a whole lot. The body is going through
Mm.
so much, right? The insulin resistance is there, the hormones and acting up is there. So the whole metabolic issue, you don't want to make it more risky for this person.
Yes.
Even with PCOS, even the cold pressed juice, it has to
Mm.
be quantified. So if we are quantifying the cold pressed juice and we are telling you the type to take, then the pasteurized juice actually is a no-no. Do you
Okay.
get that?
Okay, I
Because there is a
understand.
possibility of this individual having insulin resistance. With
Yes.
insulin resistance, you don't want anything making it worse. You want something
Yeah,
that will make it easier. Now, for something that will
definitely.
make it easier, well, that's what we even come up to talk about smoothies. But if we must do
Mm.
juice, it has to be cold pressed juice and it has to be
Okay.
portioned. And but preferably a smoothie actually works because it has the fiber that person with the PCOS actually
Mm.
needs to.
Okay. Okay. Because I know that there was something also you were always very keen on when you were advising us or guiding us on our recipe. You are very specific about portion control in the sense that if you're going to put in this recipe, let's say you have pineapple, you have orange, you have this, you're specific about the number of chunks, for example, of pineapple to use, the number of, and it was more like you were more concerned for the customer that we're dealing with, So maybe, for example, if we put a juice out there that says, okay, this is good for managing diabetes, we have to make sure that the portions, the quantity of each ingredient, meets their health needs. So that's where I would say yes, I agree with you, about the issue that pasteurized juices to be a no-no when it comes to health matters. Even though from a health perspective, like you said, they both have their good and their bad sides. But when it comes to treating or managing a health condition, the immediate advice of a registered dietitian like yourself would be no, go for cold pressed juice because it's not an option. I'm also looking at another painful thing is cold pressed juice are naturally more expensive than pasteurized. I think that's probably also why you find a lot of pasteurized juices in shops. Yes, because to produce how much right now, let's say for example I want to produce a recipe where ginger is required. Let's say, I don't know if ginger is something that people with PCOS need in their diet a lot. I know for menstrual regulation, ginger is
Ginger
good.
Ginger is something almost everybody needs, okay?
Needs.
Okay, the
Yes.
antioxidant content, yeah. So
Yes.
that's actually something good. Except the person doesn't
Yes.
like it, they'll do away with that.
Yes, it's good. And where I'm even heading to is the cost of it in the market. So if I want to produce a juice for somebody that need that, in that the immediate concern of their health is they need ginger, and maybe they are struggling to even pay the medical bills. So in such a situation now, how will the person, you find the person will be, even if you advise, okay, go ahead and buy, use more of cold pressed juice and not pasteurized juice, automatically already, they won't follow. I'll give an example. Our driver, he passed away early this year or late last year, I think. He was managing diabetes. On many occasions, he would say, you know, he was strong. I mean, his salary was only so much that could take him and his family. He was he was a he the family was polygamous, so he had more than one wife and then quite a few children. You know, and then he's managing diabetes. Many times I will hear him say he went to the hospital, they took him to do this, do that. And you ask him the next minute, you hear that he has gone to go and buy this it's not Red Bull. There's this very that has the lion's face on it. There's this juice, this drink, sorry.
This Monster energy drink.
Yeah, something like that. You know, so we got to hear that from his colleagues. He will come, maybe you even give him the money. Instead of using the money to help his situation, he's going to buy that, maybe to use the money now. Maybe he's been waiting to pay school fees. And next thing he will say, oh, you know, the treatment is not working. Let me go and do traditional medicine. And that's how this man, you know, over time, his system couldn't handle it and he died. You know, so I'm just looking at it from that perspective. Somebody in that situation, I know this is a difficult question to ask, but as a dietitian, what would be your advice? Economy, the economy is not really favorable for a certain, you know, a certain portion of us in society. And we may have these health challenges that we need to eat healthy, you know, foods like this. What would you advise, you know, as opposed to taking these other pasteurized juices that may be cheaper and may have the things that the doctor or the dietitian is saying, you know, it may contain so and so and so, but they don't have the money to afford the fresh one. So in such a case, what normally would you have? I don't know if you've been met with such a situation with your patients before, and how maybe you may have advised or handled it.
So sorry to hear about your driver. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's actually very common.
Yes,
right?
it's a painful one. Yes.
The economy it's not
Yeah.
smiling. So
Yes.
there are always situations like that, right?
Yes.
So the first question I would ask is, must you take juice? That's my first question. Sorry to say, but must you take juice, right? As much as you want to, there are other options. If you can't afford the cold pressed juice, like if you can't afford the one you know that has the nutrients, you can actually have your fruit whole. Now, before we come up with juice, we are having ginger, we are having other things, and that makes it quite pricey for some individuals, right? Now, for such individuals, okay, why don't you just make your food with the ginger in it if you need ginger? Do you get? Okay, why don't you just take your oranges, peel it, eat it whole? You get the fiber, you get everything you get. When we're focusing on the juice for people who actually would want juice, there are people that they want that juice, right? So if you want that juice, you go for this alternative, which is the cold pressed. But for real, if you cannot afford it, what are the seasonal fruits? Currently, I think we have watermelon, we have oranges, and what else is in season? I don't think pineapple is not
we
in
have
season.
orange in season right now. We have well, pineapple is not. Yeah, so you've mentioned them. Oranges.
So now those fruits that are in season, what I would advise that person is we'll look out for what is in season. I'll sit with the individual. We'll actually map at
there's
what's
sweet melon in
season.
season now too as well. Sweet melon.
There's sweet melon, exactly. So now those things that are in season, one at a time is enough for someone who is managing diabetes, right?
Yeah.
So you do not even need to juice it. You have it whole. By having it whole, you still get all the nutrients beautifully. So there's no need stressing the pockets.
Yes.
So just do with what you can afford.
So it's just natural to go for the cheaper alternative. You also, I guess, cucumber as well would also help there, wouldn't it? Cucumber.
Yeah, it's
like
cucumber like always in season. So cucumber is always in season, right? Over here, not.
Yes.
Now cucumber is there, so but cucumber is actually a vegetable. So and vegetables are part of what makes some of our juices. So
yes, okay, all right, that's good. Okay, so I think we have one or two people that have joined us. I don't know if they may have any questions. Please, if you have any questions based off the discussion we're having, please, you are free to ask for clarity, you know, because we're here to help. Okay, so another thing which you also mentioned about pasteurized juices that you stated, which, yes, is very true. You said the taste as well. You know, so basically, purely on issue of taste, pasteurized juices will not stand, stand side by side with cold pressed juice, because we're talking about the freshness of the juice. We're talking about the, it's in its natural state, and nothing can beat a natural flavor. It's so in that context, we would say that the taste of cold pressed juices will definitely give it an edge over pasteurized juice as a better juice option. Okay, then nutrient retention. I think we've discussed that as well because of the introduction of the heat to the juices. So nutrient retention is something that also you would say cold pressed juice would stand in a better light than pasteurized juice. Then I want to also go, there was something you spoke about in the last discussion that we had, the last session we had. You mentioned something about this issue of detoxing, because we do have customers that will call and say, do you have any juices that I can use for detox and all that? And from there, I picked up something that actually your system itself detoxes itself. It doesn't really need juices to detox, which I didn't know. So I'm just trying to bring that back because I had it in my mind that when we discuss this cold press and pasteurized, I would like to know a little bit more on that. And also can also see maybe how it can fit into our conversation as well. Obviously, you can't use, based on what we know, detox juices are supposed to be used for, based on our layman's understanding. Pasteurized juices automatically will not qualify based on the qualities that we have just stated, where they fall in comparison to cold pressed juices. But yes, I want to better understand it. If, for example, I've had a very heavy Christmas celebration, and I say, okay, January, it's time for me to purge and cleanse my system. If I don't take the normal green juice, can my system automatically just cleanse itself? Because I know, I'll put a lot of junk in it. So I really want to understand the biology behind what you were saying about the system cleaning itself naturally.
Okay. It's actually the work of the kidney to do that. Okay, the liver and the kidney are positioned for that. Now, for somebody who you just had anything all through December because you feel like it's celebration mood and all that, and then January you want the body to now automatically detox by using juices, right? A lot of people fall for that, but in all honesty, in the first place, you missed it is letting the body have everything. So the juice is not coming to play any automatic function of recycling the system. No. While you are even taking what you were taking, the kidney is doing that. The liver is doing that, which is why you sweat, which is why you ease yourself, right? On those processes. Now, when the kidney is doing that and the liver is doing that, by January, it doesn't mean a lot of dirt is in there's no dirt. It's just that over time, because you have overfed the system what is unhealthy per se, it gets tired of doing that constant work, which is when people now begin to look for alternative. It's actually not an alternative. The only thing, when you begin to request for fruits, vegetables, and all, the body needs the fiber, it needs the nutrients. So you just want to feed the body. You're not helping the body to detox. You want to give it the right things, the vegetables, the fruits. You're giving it the right thing. It has the fiber, and the work of fiber, gut health. It helps the bacteria. It helps our good bacteria. So when you're feeding, basically you're just trying to bring the body alive, like the way it should be. Not like you are trying to wash down everything. There's no washing down anything after December.
Okay, I understand. I guess it's more of the colon cleansing effect it gives. So we believe that because that cleansing is cleaning our systems, it's a layman's understanding. I think it's a psychology that even I have lived with it for a long time until I heard this today, or until I heard this the last session we had. So that really helped me to better understand what's.
Let me tell you another thing that makes people feel like, oh, I'm actually detoxing. What makes them actually detoxing is the weight loss that happens on that process.
Yes,
now,
that's true.
Why does that process bring about weight loss? Still going back to our client that has just overfed all through December, and January you're not doing detox by using juices and then eating a little portion. What just happens is the person now brings down their portion, and that's automatically going to calorie deficit. So calorie deficit, by December you will eat rice, eat shaki, but more everything in one plate, then you done it with Coke, right? But by January, this person is now eating, a little portion of rice, a so amount of protein, then the juice is just calorie deficit. So the calorie you're taking in has reduced. So there is definitely going to be weight loss. It's not the juice
Okay.
that's bringing
That is
about that weight
causing it.
loss.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much for this. It really helped to to kind of unravel or come around that confusion, which I have really lived with for a very long time. Okay, that's Shangri. Thank you so much for having you. It's been 30 minutes. Normally, I mean, our program shouldn't be more than 30 minutes. So it's been 30 minutes of rewarding information. You know, I hope those that were able to join us were able to take something out of what we discussed today. For me, I did. And definitely, I would still say I choose my cold press over pasteurized. Honestly, you know, that because of the ways in which they would have to keep the juice, what do you call it? Give it a longer shelf life as a pasteurized juice. Yes. Okay. So we really want to appreciate you. Thank you, our viewers. If you do have any questions, please send it to our Instagram handle, and we'll try and see whether we can discuss it in the next edition before we start the show. But thank you so much for joining us. Continue to remain gingered, and we still remain the Janiba Ginger at your service. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.